Well, Tom Sandoval is reacting to this Billie Lee versus his new girlfriend, Victoria Lee Robinson, to their feud while filming Traitors, which we're going to talk about. We also have Teresa Giudice, who's finally clearing up the rumors that she was leaking some stories about other cast members to these bloggers. Kenya Moore is in hot water after outing one of her other cast members filming Atlanta. We got a lot that we're going to get into. I hope you are ready for it. Ready. Let's get it. You're listening to No Filter with Zach Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up, everybody? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. What's going on? What up? Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys got to either relax or maybe you were doing some fun Pride stuff. Not sure, but I hope you got to live it up. Got to spend some nice family time, celebrating. Two of my brothers graduated, so I was at their graduations, but they had their graduation party on Saturday, and then I had a fun, easy, chill Sunday with the fam. Did release a bonus episode on Saturday as well, which kind of got you caught up on all this, like Billie Lee versus Victoria, who's Tom's new girlfriend, because they're like making accusations back and forth at each other, which is just wild, cuckoo, crazy, cuckoo, magoo. So we'll talk about Tom. We'll talk about Teresa. Lala was also just on. I know that's everyone's favorite topic these days. Lala Kent was just on Two Teas in a Pod. And I was like, yes, Lala Kent, Teddy Mellencamp, Tamra Judge. What an iconic trio. Legends only, right? It's the Legends only ball. It was good. I listened to it this morning. I think Lala clears up a lot of things. She explains the send it to Daryl, down payment on the Palm Springs house rumor. She says that she'd already put the down payment on the house, which her team was reluctant to her doing. And then Send It to Daryl merch came, and that helped replenish some of the money that she had spent investing in the down payment on her Palm Springs home. So she's like, no, Send It to Daryl didn't give me enough to put a down payment in, but it did help fill that gap once, the house had already been, she'd already purchased the home. What else did she clear up? She talked about Ariana and how she's like, Ariana's kind of phoned it in for the past several seasons, which I agree with. Like, Ariana has, like, I've always liked Ariana, but she has kind of phoned it in for the past several seasons. And Lala was like, and this was just the one time I was like, you don't get to phone it in. Like, the main storyline is surrounding you. You don't get to just be honest in the finale and have that one moment where you're the star of that. And then now you don't really want to give us anything. She says that there was even a moment like in season 10 where, producers had to sit Ariana down and be like, listen, we need you to react to things a lot more. Like, you keep trying to be like, I'm the cool girl. I'm the cool girl. I don't have a reaction to these things. These things don't bother me. But like, we need you to have a reaction, because otherwise, if you keep shutting everything down, which is what Lala said, she felt like Ariana kept shutting these conversations down that she would try to have with her throughout the season. She says it makes it difficult to film a television show when somebody's not giving you anything. When they want to act like a wet noodle, then it comes off a little boring. So she clarifies that a little bit. And then the Sheena thing. Okay, so Sheena went on her podcast, right? And Sheena said that they had a meeting halfway through the season where they basically sat everybody down and said, listen, it's not a good season. We're really struggling here. Like, you need to do something. You need to give us something. You need to interact with Sandoval, whatever. Like, the friend group is fractured, and we need you guys to like work on it. Otherwise, this is going to be a short season because there's not a whole lot of content. And if it's a shorter season and the season doesn't perform well, then it's very likely the show's not going to come back next season. And so Sheena said that she kind of felt like that was pressure for her to then talk to Sandoval and make up with Sandoval for the sake of the show and the show moving forward. Alex Baskin has since responded to that. Alex Baskin is one of the executive producers of Vanderpump Rules. He has since responded and said, no, I did not pressure Sheena into making up with Sandoval. He's like, I think she exaggerated the details of that meeting. We basically said that the content was currently boring. It wasn't really giving us anything. It wasn't going to be a solid season if people didn't start, at least trying to mend these relationships because the show is about a friend group. And if the friend group is so fractured and one person's on an island and Katie and Ariana are over there on their love island, you know, then it's like it's all disconjointed and it's not going to work. And so Lala addressed that on Two Teas in a Pod today too. She's like, what Sheena took away from that conversation, what I took away from that conversation were two completely different things. And Alex Baskin kind of clarified, and he's like, you know, Sheena, that was her interpretation, and it was a bit of an exaggeration of what was actually said to the cast. Because now people are like, Sheena's lying, and the producer called her out for lying. I'm like, maybe you should take your bias and put it aside and look at the full picture and realize, oh, okay, Sheena was in that meeting. She had an interpretation. She interpreted that as, okay, maybe I should give Sandoval a little more of, you know, a chance. And production was just like, hey, y'all, you're boring. Do something. Sheena interpreted it one way. Lala then says that she interpreted that differently. She's like, if anything, the pressure was on Sandoval because he's the one that fractured this friend group. And it was like, how is the friend group going to move forward? So they did kind of, you know, they were, I guess, kind of trying to like mend something. But yeah, I don't think Alex Baskin called Sheena a liar. He absolutely did not. But he did say that, you know, what she recounted on her podcast was a bit of an exaggeration of what the meeting actually was. I don't think Sheena was intentionally trying to exaggerate as much as I think that's what Sheena took from the meeting, which is what Lala said on Two Teas in a Pod. And Lala's like, I got a very different takeaway. And the takeaway that I got was that the group wasn't gelling and that the show is about a group and we're not gelling. So the show's struggling. The content of the show is going to struggle if the group's not going to gel. But also, why was the group not gelling? Who was the one that was preventing the group from gelling? I don't know. I'll let you come up with that answer all on your own. Because I don't want to sway you one way or the other, or say that I like this cast member more than I like that cast member, or I'm biased. So I'll let you come to your own conclusions as to who was hindering the storyline this season on Vanderpump Rules. Okay, that said, Lala also said she doesn't think that she's going to be coming to the Valley. She said that they've never had, like, she has no interest and never had talks about coming to the Valley either. What else did she say in Two Teas and Bud? It was a good interview. I enjoyed it. Tamara had a lot of good advice for Lala. Um, and Lala made a really good point of just being like, listen, I get it if you like somebody else and you want to support somebody else, but she's like, why is your support of somebody else also come with you having to tear me down? And I agreed with that. It's funny because I know last week I was on my rant about like how people are like have this crazy insane mob mentality. And you guys, some of you guys are true. And I also want to make this very clear that when I call you crazy or I say you're unhinged, it's specifically referring to the people that are behaving like they have rabies and they're foaming at the mouth. If you, I feel like I've tried to make this point before, if you yourself is not behaving this way and you're not sending these really nasty, mean messages to me or to Lala or to Sheena or to whoever else or to Janet on the Valley, if you're not one of those people that is behaving that way, then please know I am not referring to you. Because I think a lot of people are being like, why are you yelling at me? Why are you being mad at saying that I'm unhinged and I'm crazy? And I'm like, well, are you acting unhinged and crazy? Because if you're not, then the comments are not referring to you. If you're acting like a sane person that's just enjoying these shows, then you know what? That's totally cool. You can be a sane person. You can dislike Lala or dislike Sheena or dislike Ariana or whatever. I dislike Katie, you know? It's all good. But unless you are acting unhinged and cuckoo crazy, then you're not foaming at the mouth and you're not acting like you have rabies. I'm only referring to the people that are cuckoo crazy, right? And you can tell who those cuckoo birds are because you can see all of their comments online or in my reviews. But like, you know, we want to get Bravo back to when it was fun. I saw my friend Jacques this morning and sent me this crazy message a screenshot of this post that somebody, I'm going to call the dummy out right now, the Morgan letters on Instagram. I don't know who this person is. This account does not seem familiar to me. I just want to say that because I know there was all the drama when I called out Kaka Maraka last week for, you know, her montages of Lala with all the time she has on her hands. But this account, like, this is an example of foaming at the mouth with rabies. This account, the Morgan Letters, right, posts this thing. It's not about Lala, but it's about Janet from the Valley tags Janet so that Janet can see this, right? Tags Janet and even says, hopefully she sees, like, which is crazy that you're going to write this nasty message and you hope that the nasty message that you're sending gets seen by this person. And she writes, I have never hated a Bravo celebrity as much as I hate Janet. Psycho, fake, inauthentic, manipulative, horrible human being. The list goes on and on. What an absolute nightmare of a human. Hearing her voice was like nails on a chalkboard. She's so fake and pretends to be such a sweetheart. She's a wolf in sheep's clothing. She really thought she ate. She spelled that wrong. She really thought she ate with her dumb confessionals. I'm so glad she's receiving this much hate because I really can't stand her. This is what I'm talking about. This is a fucking loser that is foaming at the mouth because they're sad in their own pathetic little life that they can't think of anything better than to send somebody else hate. I get it. You don't like Janet. I didn't like Janet. Do I think that I didn't enjoy her this season? I called her Jekyll and Hyde Janet, but I would never go to this level where I would literally post something as nasty, mean, and hateful. This is the type of commentary that I am speaking about when I call you losers and say that you're foaming at the mouth. This is loser foaming at the mouth behavior. This is crazy. Like, that's what I'm talking about, is how unhinged these people get. But then you can hide behind your stupid little handle, the Morgan Lenners, and not show your face and not show your name because you're a fucking coward and you're going to send shit like that and post stuff like that on the internet. It's disgusting. You should be embarrassed by yourself. Your mama did not raise you right, and you should be embarrassed. Now, if you're not behaving like this, that commentary is not directed at you. Okay? You can go about your day. But like, let's not put that type of energy and content into the world because it is disgusting. Like, these people are putting their lives out there, like all of us. Even Kaka Maraka, right? Or Up and Adam, who I know I've had my beef with. I even have a level of respect for them for putting their names and their faces out on the internet because you say one thing that the mob doesn't like and immediately they're going to rip you apart for it. And it's crazy. But that's my point about these reality stars. We may not like them and it's okay to dislike them. It's okay to disagree with them. It's okay to not understand their side of things. But to send that level of hate is sickening. So when I say that's bullying, that's true. That is bullying. And I saw the same thing being directed at Lala, and I see the same thing being directed at Sheena. And it's like, guys, like, why does it have to be that intense? Like, why does it have to be that deep? Sorry, I wasn't planning on going on that tangent and on that rant, but I see so many people and they're like, stop yelling at your fans, stop yelling at your community. And I'm like, I'm not yelling at them. I believe that they're, intelligent and emotionally stable people that enjoy these shows. I'm yelling at the fucking losers on the internet that are putting that shit out there. And yes, I do call you a fucking loser because that's what you're behaving like. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Talked about Lala and Sheena and Alex Baskin. Got all that drama covered. Now let's talk about Tom Sandoval because I have thoughts about this. Okay, so over the weekend we saw Billie Lee went on her podcast, which I said I thought was thirsty. She went on her podcast with Sloppy Joe, and the two of them were talking about Tom Sandoval, and they were talking about Victoria. And the gist of it was that Billie feels like Victoria is a bad influence on Tom Sandoval. And listen, I just will say this. I think we saw Schwartz and Schwartz's girlfriend unfollow Victoria on social media. I think that maybe this isn't the healthiest relationship for Tom Sandoval. I think that Sandoval and Victoria may be a bit toxic because Billie said that they fight like crazy. And she said that Tom's just not in a good place now that he's been dating Victoria for the past few months. All this stuff, right? Billie basically said that that's why she just doesn't have a friendship with Tom Sandoval is basically because of Victoria. And she also referenced Victoria wanting to move Ariana's stuff out of the house or out of the primary bedroom so that Tom could take the primary bedroom because Tom was still living in the house and Ariana's not living in the house anymore. So that's what Billie said on her podcast. Victoria went and did her low budget interview with Up and Adam where she's just like, she looked like she was on something, right? She just didn't appear to be all there. Could she have been nervous? Possibly within the realm of possibility, right? But she seemed like she was kind of out of it. She couldn't really formulate a full sentence. She couldn't really articulate the points that she was trying to make. She made some wild accusations against Billie Lee. I said that I left that interview actually believing Billie's side of things because Billie was able to coherently explain her side of the story. And again, I haven't been a big Billie fan. And if you've known, if you've watched some of my older recaps of Vanderpump Rules from the earlier seasons, Not a fan of Billie Lee at all. Um, I've had my moments where I like Billie, and in real life, she seems fine. On the show, I never really enjoyed her. But I think in this case, Victoria versus Billie, I have to say, Billie's making a more logical argument, and Victoria looked like she was just kind of spinning out and throwing out conspiracy theories about how Kyle Chan wanted to take advantage of Sandoval and, like, and would, try to put him under the influence so that he could take advantage of him. And then they also claimed that Billie wanted Tom Sandoval's baby and that Billie wanted Tom Sandoval's name, and basically made it seem like Billie is, a clinger, and she was obsessed with Sandoval and she wanted Sandoval all to herself. It's basically the picture that they were trying to paint for everybody. And then Victoria's like, I have evidence that proves that, and I have video footage that proves that. And then she's like, oh, but like there was a camera and it was filming us, but it didn't record anything. So I don't have that video footage. It was a hot mess express. And I broke it down on Saturday's episode of the podcast. Now, fast forward, Tom Sandoval is now reacting to that. And I have weird questions about that because this was posted on his Instagram. And now it was also a link to the interview that Victoria did, her and Kyle Chan did over the weekend. That was also posted on Tom Sandoval's Instagram account promoting the interview, right? And then now we see that as of Sunday, he posted another thing on his Instagram. It says, Billie Lee's false claims toward Victoria Lee Robinson and Kyle Chan were designed to damage our friendships and relationships. Victoria, Kyle, and I heard her on speakerphone while she made those accusations. They were designed to isolate me from my friends for ulterior motives. It's not a coincidence that she is doing this while I'm out of the country and she is on tour. I will be addressing everything when I'm back. So basically, this message claims that like she's doing this because Tom can't react to it because he's in Scotland filming Traitors season 3, and she's on her comedy tour right now. So he's alluding to the fact that she's using this as publicity to promote her comedy tour. I don't know how well her comedy tour is doing, to be honest with you. But I don't know how well her comedy. I'll just say that. But this is strange that there are posts that are going out on Tom Sandoval's social media when Tom Sandoval is sequestered in Scotland. He literally is not supposed to have access to his phone. They're not allowed to have access to the outside world. And I know some of them are posting on their social media. I think Dorinda at one point had a photo in a dress that was posted on her Instagram account. But I feel like somebody has access to his account and somebody is posting this, I feel like either it's Victoria or a manager or somebody has access to Tom Sandoval's account and they're posting these things on his behalf, which is also kind of cuckoo crazy, right? I don't know if I believe that this is the real Tom Sandoval posting this or that this was Tom's actual statement or whatever. He's even if you get banished, you still don't have access to your phones. I don't think he got banished early. Same thing with Dorinda. I don't think Tom Sandoval and Dorinda were the two that were banished first. Also, because people are saying, oh, well, Dorinda must have been banished first because she was posting a photo on Instagram, so she must have her phone. They intentionally don't want you to have access to your phone or to post anything so that it doesn't give it away. Otherwise, oh, it looks obvious that Dorinda and Tom Sandoval were banished first. They intentionally do these things so that it doesn't look like that. So it is probably somebody else that is posting on their behalf because I don't believe they have access to their phones. It's possible that maybe you get a phone call, maybe you're allowed to talk to your manager at some point or something, and maybe they kind of had a conversation with Tom. I don't know, but something about this feels off. And it kind of feels like they're posting to Tom's accounts on his behalf to defend them. But like my advice to them, and I think I said this on Saturday, is it's like let Billie run her. If Billie's lying and you know that Billie's lying, then let Billie run her stories. They're gonna die down. This will die down in a week. But the fact that everyone keeps responding and posting and adding more to it, it just keeps the thing going. I thought it would have been a dead story come Monday. And then Tom Sandoval posted about it. And now it's like it keeps it going. And it makes Victoria look so bad and it makes her look so thirsty. And honestly, from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing, I don't know if Victoria is the best for Tom Sandoval. I don't think that this is a healthy relationship. If Schwartz has unfollowed her, I feel like that's also very telling. So, don't know. Don't know. Let's see what the live chat's saying. Um, Meanwhile, Tom is away filming Trader's Clout much. Yeah, is, the video thing was wild. Why Victoria brought that up? Oh yeah, that was the wildest part where she was just Chelsea, where she was just like, it was. I knew that Billie. I brought her into the kitchen so that she could, reveal this information on camera, and we caught it on camera. And then Adam's like, "Well, if it's on camera, then that means you can't dispute it. The facts are the facts. You can't dispute it." And then Victoria's like, "Oh, but yeah, but the camera wasn't recording." And I was like, "Oop." Made him look like a dummy. Um, but like, why even talk about the camera if the camera was never on? Like, why be like, I caught her on camera, but cash me outside, the camera's off. Oops, never mind. JK, like, what? Like, literally, what? I would never be like, I have proof I caught it on camera. The camera just didn't happen to be on. Like, literally, what? It was cuckoo crazy. I was like, am I on an acid trip in the back alley of Sir? Like, what is going on here? Did you say it was a low budget interview, Zach? That's why I love it. It was a low budget interview. It was low budget. And I don't listen, regardless of whoever was the one that conducted that interview, place in any other person, even if they were my friend or not my friend, I would have called it a low budget interview. And Kyle Chen, who I've gotten close to over these past couple of months, I told him it was bad. And I told him it made her look bad. And I told him all of the things. And he's like, listen, I respect you being honest and keeping it 100 with me. And I'm like, I'm always going to be honest and I'm always going to keep it 100, whether I know you or don't know you, or you're my friend or you're not my friend or whatever. The interview was classified under low budget. Listen, I didn't think you could get more low budget than interviewing Jen Shaw about her innocence before she pled guilty and went to prison. But then we brought that down a level by interviewing Lenny's mistress in the house that he kicked his wife and children out of and filming a promo of her strutting through the house that Lenny kicked his wife and his children out of. That was low budget. And then we brought the bar even lower with this Victoria Lee Robinson interview. Listen. Jerry Springer was able to find a niche. And if Jerry Springer can find a niche, we can all find a niche in this world. So, Chelsea says, but do we believe Sandoval? I have a hard time believing what he says. I don't think Sandoval wrote this. I think maybe Victoria wrote it and posted it on his behalf. Do I know that for a fact? No, I just don't think Sandoval wrote that. It just, Nikki B says, this just gets messier every day. Is there no loyalty? It gets depressing, all the good friends turning on each other. I know. It just feels like all the leftover scraps from Scandoval and everybody's trying to get a bite. And I'm like, it's just bone at this point. Why are we scrapping? Katie Dugdale says, also Tom Sandoval has unfollowed Victoria, so he Tom Schwartz has unfollowed Victoria. Yeah, that says a lot. Mallory says, honestly, the Insta story was too articulate to be Sandoval. Yeah. Okay. Not like from a sense that like Sandoval's dumb, but like normally when he posts things, it's like a you instead of the word you, and it's like bro, or like it's very informal. This was a very formally, I mean, even the fact that they were designed to isolate me from my close friends for ulterior motives. Like, even like you're right. It was very articulately and carefully worded. Boozy bitch says, watch out, Billie Lee might be in the live chat. She was on the chat in Adam's live and then deleted her comments. I don't think she deleted her comments because you can't delete your comments in the live chat. I believe only the moderators can delete your comments. So it sounded like Billie Lee was in the live chat and whoever Adam's moderators were trying to block Billie from having an opinion and having a say in that. I mean, I guess that's one way to shove your narrative down somebody's throats. Make us all deep throat your narrative by deleting the other side. Rhiannon Pierce says, I'm not sure who would want to promote that interview. It was not a good look at all. It wasn't. And people think that it's because I have, personal thoughts about Adam, but like that was whoever that would have been. I would have called it low budget. I missed everything this week and I'm going to have to go back and watch. Good luck, girl. Enjoy. But my because I also in Saturday's episode, if you didn't catch it, had very like thoughtful, critical analysis that I was like, listen, and I told Kyle Chan this. I was like, Victoria, if she really wanted to clear her name, one, I think she needs to stay out of the comment section and not be caught up in this drama. Like it makes her look thirsty the more she inserts herself. Like let Billie look like, because listen, when Billie first released that podcast, what was my reaction? This is thirsty, right? I thought it made Billie look thirsty, especially because she did it with Joe. So it looked bad for Billie. But then Victoria responding to it the way that she did, you know, didn't help. So my first advice was she never should have inserted herself. Secondly, on top of that, there was the damn it, I lost my train of thought. Oh, that if she was going to clarify something, it either should have been, I mean, not a statement. I thought like a video. Like, listen, hey guys, I just wanted to pop on and like address these accusations. I normally wouldn't address this, but I'm getting so many comments, people thinking that I did these things that Billie accused me of. Here are the facts. Here's the truth. And stick to only what Billie said. Because then they went on all these other tangents, making all these other crazy accusations about Billie, which may totally be true, but the way that the information was presented to us made it seem cuckoo crazy conspiracy theorist. So the plot got lost, right? We didn't know what they were talking about. It made Victoria look crazy. It made her look like she was being thirsty and wanting to insert herself into the drama. I was like, it should have been a video. It should have been very matter of fact. It should have been straight to the point. Sandoval, if he does address this, it should be on his podcast, direct to camera, and be like, listen, here are the things that were said. I just want to dispute this, this, and that. I want to leave it at that. I want to move on from this and let it go. Let the story die. Deny and let it die. And then move on. Right. And here's the thing, every podcast and news outlet and whatever, they're going to take that little clip, they're going to circulate it, they're going to play it, and that's going to run in the news cycle for a day or two. It'll die down. We move on from the story. Right. And then it dies. Even if Billie Lee tries to respond or whatever, it dies there. It was just cuckoo crazy, unhinged. But like that was my advice. Like don't do, and especially don't do a live interview, because when it's live, you can it can go off the rails very quickly, especially when you have people in the live chat that are coming in. But listen, I get it. When your priority is, cheap clickbait to monetize off of your audience because you don't really care about giving them quality, you care about getting as many eyeballs as you can for your ad revenue. Okay, cool. If that's your priority, then stick to that strategy as the interviewer. But when you're the subject and you want to get your story across, doing a live interview is not the way to go. I would not have conducted this interview. I would not have done it live. It would have, just no. So, yeah, again, but if your priority is, using your audience to just drive up your ad revenue and that's your main priority rather than giving your audience quality content, that's fine. That's your brand. Like I said, even Jerry Springer had his niche. Victoria seemed utterly unhinged. She did. It was just oof. JB says wake up with Adam gets points for consistency. Yeah, that's one nice thing we can say. Quit ranting. Good Lord. Sorry, my love. The show is called No Filter with Zack Peter. And guess what? I don't have a filter. So guess what? I like to pop off and I like to rant. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I do. I miss Jerry. Who's Jerry? Oh, Jerry Springer. Jerry. It's funny. I kept seeing the live chat and so many people were saying Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. I'm like, who the fuck is Jerry? I was like, has Jerry been somebody in our live chat that I've missed this entire time? But we're talking about Jerry Springer. Danny says they are scrapping because they are worried about their meal tickets being away as a cast member or being connected to one. I mean, I guess. Even Victoria isn't articulate enough to post that from what I've seen and heard. I don't know who posted that. Also, I just don't think it looks good because I think we can see through the fact that Tom Sandoval is very unlikely going to be posting these statements to his thing, Oh, Aoko says you can delete your comments if you post them in the live chat. You can delete them. Got it. Zach reads the good, the bad, and the ugly. He doesn't delete any comments. I don't think. I've never deleted comments. That's why I'll pop off on people that are being stupid on the live. I should delete my I should have a moderator. But again, it's no filter with Zach Peter. It's just an unfiltered hour. Um, Wanda Lee says Sandoval is going to be in a bit, have a big mess when he comes back. Imagine going and filming The Traitors. That show's already a mess. And then you come home and you're like, I want to relax. I did it. I'm going to collect my paycheck now. And it's like, whoop, nope, never mind. Never mind. Zach, you would have killed that interview. I would have never done that interview. To me, I'm just like, that was a mess I didn't want to touch. That's when people are like, you should go interview Billie Lee. I'm like, I don't want to interview Billie Lee. I was already planning before I found out that this was even happening. I was literally, before I found out Kyle was going to be on Adam's show, was texting with Kyle, and we were scheduling a time to have him come into the Spotify studio so that we could tape and talk about this season of Vanderpump, because we've been talking about him coming on the podcast for a while now. And so I was finally like, oh, let's make it happen. And then I saw that he did this, and I was like, we're not doing this interview. We're not going to talk about that. Because I had a lot of questions. I wanted to sit down with him and be like, how did you get Ariana to show up to the finale? How did you get her to come to your party when it seems like she may be upset with you? And she, whatever. I had a lot of questions that I thought would have been interesting to get some of the behind the scenes of Vanderpump Rules this past season. We're not doing that anymore, because I'm like, now I don't want to be, enthralled in any of that mess. Chelsea says Kyle was the only thing that saved that interview. Yeah, I agree. He was trying so hard to get the train back on the track, but it was wild. Brittany says, I think this drama is way better than what last season gave us. LOL, bring Billie Lee and Victoria on for season 12. No, that's low budget. I don't want them on. Wait, don't they take away your phone when you're filming The Traitors? Yes, they do. They absolutely do. That's why I'm like, he's sequestered. Like, they're not allowed to talk to the other cast members. They're not supposed to have access to their phones and the internet. Um, you know, you can batch and plan out your content, which I think some of them do, like the ones that are more influencer-y. They like have photos and things that are scheduled to go out on certain days, and they have like a manager or an assistant or someone run their social media accounts while they're sequestered. That way their accounts stay active. Christopher said, it's a smart decision not to interview Billie Lee. I consider myself a very smart person, so I tend to make smart decisions. That's why I would never interview Lenny's mistress in the house that he kicked Lenny, his wife, and the kids out of. So you better believe I'm going to talk about that until the end of times. Listen, when the universe gives you a gift, when God grants you, when you're like, what's the tea? And God's like, here's the tea, baby, run with it. You better believe I'm going to fucking run with it. You better believe I'm going to talk about the Lenny Mistress interview until the end of times. That was like gold. I was like, God loves me. Jesus loves me today. The universe blessed me. I am blessed. I stay blessed. Uh, you're you're pat you're past the low budget desperate interviews. You got Erica Jane. Thank you, distinguished guest. Listen, I enjoyed my interview with Erica Jane, and that interview alone, I only released one part, remember, because a lot of other people, other podcasts, other YouTubes like to release it into part 1, part 2, part 3, whatever. And they like to release multiple parts to the interviews because, again, they want to drive their ad revenue up. I didn't even need to do that. I was like, nah, we're going to release it in its entirety, one batch. And you know what? That one video outperformed other people's multiple videos, even when you add up their views. When you do it right, you don't need to do the most. You just do it right. Darcy Miller says, I'm embarrassed to say this, but in the earlier days, Tom was my favorite. He seemed so nice. That's what he wanted you to believe, though. He wanted you to believe, I'm the nice guy. I'm the good guy. And listen, I'm sure that there are parts of him that are nice and a good guy, right? God, my Invisalign is making me a lisp today. I have to go see my dentist and get them switched out. But I'm sure there are parts of Tom Sandoval that are nice, but, he also has his moments. Billie Lee wants to be asked to be interviewed so bad. Maybe. I don't know. Zach the shade. What shade? Me be shady? When have I ever been shady? Blessed and highly favored. I know that's right. Is it just me, or does Adam try to be like, I don't know. I don't watch his content. But if he does try to be like me, that's great. Maybe he should try a little harder. And then he could keep up with me. Okay. Let's move. I'm being way too shady for a Monday. Sorry, guys. What it is the live chat fires me up. It's all of y'all that go and you fire me up and then you make me be bad. Why does it feel so good? So good to be bad. Okay. Let's talk about Teresa. Teresa and Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore, Kenya Moore, Kenya Moore. But before we do, I wanted to give a shout out to my pals at Dry Farm Wines. Dry Farm Wines is my favorite. I like to call it my hangover-free wines. It's my favorite hangover-free wine because it's sugar-free, low carb, paleo friendly, keto friendly, no toxic additives in it, third party tested for purity. So it's good, clean wine. It's also vegan, so you can make sure that you're saving the animals while you're also sipping on some Dry Farm wines. It's good, clean wine. Okay. You can give it a try at dryfarmwines.com/Zack, ZACK. And when you order from dryfarmwines.com/Zack, you get your first bottle for just a penny. Good, clean wine. It's a wine subscription box that gets shipped straight to your door per your preferences. So you get to choose. Do you want red? Do you want white? Do you want a mix? Like whatever your preferences are, you let Dry Farm Wines know. They send a shipment. It's a subscription that gets sent straight to your door. So you don't have to worry about going out to the liquor store or listen, the other day, I always get judged by the cashiers at the stores. I have a corner store. I like to call it a bodega. And I know people in New York are like, that's not a bodega. That's not a real bodega. And I'm like, you know what? Different strokes for different folks. And this is how we do it in downtown LA. Okay. We have a very fancy little bodega. It's a corner store. They sell wine. They sell something about her sandwiches. Not really, but like sandwiches. And that's where I go to my bodega. Okay. And so the other day, I went to my bodega and I was buying beer, which I normally don't buy, but I was buying it as a thank you gift for somebody else. And so I went, and so I had beer and I put it on the counter. And then the cashier looks at the beer and looks up at me and he goes, "Oh, mixing it up today, I see." And I was like, "Oh, the audacity to judge my life, sir. I don't judge your graphic tees, but judging my life." So yeah, you won't get judged because Dry Farm Wines is not going to judge you. They're going to send the wine straight to your door, so you don't have to worry about that. So dryfarmwines.com/Zack, ZACK, dryfarmwines.com/Zack. And like I said, first bottle is just a penny. What exactly is a bodega? It's like a liquor store, like a corner store, right? Where you can like get a panini and a coffee and a bag of chips, an orange drink, if you know, you know. I think he was hitting on you, Zack. Maybe. I'm often very bad when people hit on me. Oh my, wait till you guys hear the new season of Disaster Daters, because I have so many stories. Which, by the way, just we'll get into the tea, but I just wanted to say we start filming season 2 of Disaster Daters this week, and we need some of your crazy, cuckoo, wild stories. So if you have a bad dating story, a bad sex story, a wild relationship story, whatever it is, you can send it in. You can remain anonymous, but you can send it in to disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. Disaster Daters Podcast. Okay. Disaster Daters Podcast. I'll type into the live chat. Disaster Daters Podcast@gmail.com. But you want to get it in like today or tomorrow, because if you don't, then you're going to miss an opportunity. But it's Disaster Daters, not dating, Disaster Daters with an S. Disaster Daters Podcast@gmail.com. Go right now. Submit your crazy dating stories. You can remain anonymous. You can remain, you can say that your name is Kakamaraca. You can say, Down with Adam, like whatever you want to call, whatever you want to call your Jason side piece, whatever you want your anonymous name to be, you can make it that. But send it to disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com to submit your stories. Get them in today or tomorrow. That way they make it into when we start taping the new episodes. It's going to be wild. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be a good time. So yeah. Okay. Now, I haven't been on a date in forever. Well, Christopher, it sounds like you're a disaster dater. Let's talk about Teresa. She was on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy Cohen asked her about the rumors that she's leaking stories to the bloggers. Okay. Pamela B says she has a good dating story. Great. You better send it to disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. So Teresa was on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy Cohen asked her, he's like, okay, what do you have to say about the rumors that you're leaking stories to bloggers? Which there was this low budget account that went on a podcast that basically said, I was working with Teresa and Jen, and I was working with Teresa and Jen were leaking stuff to me, and they were planting stories, and they would send me articles or they would send me tea that they wanted me to post about, so that if it gets posted on the internet, then it would have to be it's something that could be talked about on the show. And we see this season on Real Houses of New Jersey at the very beginning, Teresa and Jennifer are like, oh, there are all these rumors about Fuda's husband, and Rachel Fuda's husband used to deal drugs back in the day. And so, it was a whole rumor mill that, they're like, oh, well, it's being said about on social media. It's being talked about on social media. So if it's being talked about on social media, I didn't bring it up. It's out there, right? Seemed a little fishy. And I will say, Housewives and Bravo celebrities do this all the time. I've had Bravo celebrities reach out to me because they wanted information out there, because they needed it to be, out and available. That way it could be talked about on the show, right? If it comes up on social media, then you can be like, oh my God, this account just posted this. Did you see this? What? Even though they planted it. So Teresa said on Watch What Happens Live that the blogger, and I use that word very loosely, that blogger was lying. She said that that's not true. She said that, and he's like, well, I'm asking about you because there are all these screenshots. And she's like, they're not my screenshots. Like Kathy Hilton at the reunion with Lisa Rinna, where she's like, that text that you said that I sent you, it's not on my phone. I'm like, oh, really? And Lisa's like, well, it's on my phone. Do you want to see it? She's like, I didn't delete it. I'm like, Kathy, girl. Ugh. So Teresa says that they don't exist, that those are fake screenshots, that was all, that this blogger is lying. And she's like, I didn't. She kept saying that. She's like, I didn't do that. I didn't send that to the bloggers. I didn't, whatever. But you know what she didn't say? She didn't say, Jen and I didn't do it. She didn't say, Jen didn't do it either. She kept trying to say Margaret does stuff like that. She's like, I know Margaret does. She's like, Andy, aren't you keeping up with what's going on the internet? Margaret's trying to put the stories out there, and she's texting bloggers, and there are screenshots of her doing it too. And she's like, aren't you keeping up with the Andy? And Andy's like, well, I'm talking to you and I'm asking you about it. And she's like, I didn't. So she made it clear that she didn't, but she didn't exonerate Jen in that same, interview. So it sounds like maybe Jen was the one that was kind of doing this, or maybe Teresa was putting Jen up to it. I predict Jen is going to flip on Teresa at some point. When Jen's, left out to dry, like she was with the Danielle thing and the Melissa cheating rumor last season, I don't know. Darcy Miller says, I am so Teresa. I could commute with my 2-year-old grandson better than Teresa. I mean, Laura Rain says, it still sounds shady. I think it all sounds shady. Storm Dora says, what are your thoughts on the Real Houses of Atlanta filming drama with Kenya and the newbie Britt? Okay, so this came up over the weekend. Kenya Moore had an event. At the event, she was accused of posting photos of the newbie that's joining Atlanta, Britt, of posting a photo of her sucking some D, right? She was like, so that is what leaked. And Page Six is like, we confirmed that Kenya Moore shared this photo. Like, she had a big blow up of the photo that was revealed at Kenya's event of Britt sucking D, right? And she was I believe the direct quote was, she was aggressively sucking it. I don't know how I like aggressively sucking. Like, that just sounds like pain. It sounds like there are teeth involved, and it just sounds very painful. Not a fan of that. But she was aggressively sucking D, and Kenya revealed the photo. That was what was published in Page Six. Okay. And then there were also rumors that Britt was there and Britt pulled a gun, yada, yada, yada. Those rumors were disputed. That was not true. That is false. Now, it brought up a conversation of this being revenge porn, which then prompted Kenya Moore to react. And she posted a statement saying, it's not true. She's never engaged in revenge porn. And she's like, I can't talk about it because it's an ongoing storyline on Real Houses of Atlanta right now. So I can't talk about it, but just know I've always been vindicated and I will be vindicated again in the end. So she is saying that she'll be vindicated. Now, furthermore, on top of that, then there was, oops, I just had, okay, here it is. Reality Entertainment TV published this, which came from Reddit, and it was posted by Kooky Ad 4019. And it's audio from Kenya Moore's event. And it basically is showing Kenya talking about how Britt is an escort and she charges, which is what escorts do. She charges like 1,400 or something. Oh, wait. This is allegedly the audio from the moment Kenya revealed one of her poster boards at her hair spot event. And then it does look like there's she does have boards. If you look there, so it looks like things are leaking from the event. And there was a photo that was posted that says insurance fraud ho. And then there are screenshots of something. So I don't know, but so there is audio. Let me see if we can play the audio. It's a little hard to hear. So let's see if it'll, I don't know if it's, might not be able to hear it, but I'll try to break it down after.
$1,400 for appointment. You not only a hoe, you a hoe. You on covers of magazines, being the side, I'm on covers of every magazine. You all of those, okay? You over here on Snapchat. Your daddy was like Snapchat me that pussy.
Ooh, your daddy was like Snapchat me that pussy. Okay, so in the audio, she refers to Britt charging $1,400 for her escort services, and you can hear somebody in the background saying there's a penis. So, and you can see that in some of the photos that were posted online, you can see that there is like poster boards that were there, and one of them from the photo you can see says insurance fraud ho. So I don't know. It looks messy. It sounds messy. It looks so. She's saying that she absolutely did not post the photos of Britt, but somebody said there's a penis. You can hear it in the background. So maybe I don't know. That is revenge porn. That would technically fall under the category of revenge porn. Remember, we've been talking a lot about that, and we've been reading a lot about revenge porn in relation to Rachel Levis's lawsuit against Ariana Madix. I don't know. Sarah says, I hate when they try to spill the tea before the show. It kind of ruins it for me. It does kind of ruin it because then like we already know what's going to be happening. And then we know that this isn't going to be happening for months and months and months. So I don't know. Some people are like, yes, Kenya is bringing it. I love Kenya. Kenya's getting messy again. And then other people are like, Kenya needs to be fired now. Her time has come. Like these are cheap tricks, cheap tactics. Like it's boring. Like, you know, it's low budget. So I don't know. I don't know. But Kenya revealed something. She had poster boards. She said that there's an IG that has the emails that show that she charges $1,400 for her escort services. I don't know. This Brit girl, I don't know. It looks bad. It looks messy. It looks like it's going to be a messy season of Atlanta. Are you a fan of Kenya Moore's tricks this season? She looks like she's trying to bring it. Kenya had Exhibit D. Yes, she did, Nikki B. Kenya had, and here is Exhibit Big D. And Big D is being taken aggressively. Christopher says they were arguing off to the side and Britt left early. Okay. So Britt was at the event. She left early. Well, maybe because Kenya was planning on embarrassing her. Kenya clearly had an agenda for Britt when she was getting there. Kenya's like, listen, I got some hair care products that I'm trying to promote. So you know what? Here you go. Use this conditioner while you're sucking some D. You can do a hair mask, and you can do the hair mask while you're and then, you know, by the time you're done, by the time he shoots his load, it's ready to rinse out. Whew, it looks like it's going to be a mess. Tiffany says, if people were there and seen it, why is Kenya saying she didn't do it? Weird, stupid, I don't know. She's saying that she's about to be vindicated. So I don't know what that means necessarily. I think she wanted to make sure producers didn't skip over her hair store event like what happened last year, which is smart. Listen, you got a business that you're trying to promote. She's like, you can't leave, you can't put this on the cutting room floor again. But her direct statement was, I would never engage in revenge porn. I have never distributed private images or footage of anyone, nor solicited images owned by others to use them to threaten or blackmail. I have always been vindicated. I can't talk about a story even when people are planting fake news. Hashtag Sweet 16. So she says, I would never engage in revenge porn. I have never distributed private images or footage of anyone, nor solicited images owned by others to use to threaten or blackmail. I don't know. Something tells me Kenya, I like Kenya, and Kenya's messy, but something tells me Kenya may have done something here that she's trying to deflect from. Private images. Oh, yes, operative. Yes, Nikki B. Operative word being, she said private images. I've never distributed private images or footage of anyone. Maybe that there's a difference there, because once it becomes public and it's available online and it's I don't know, but then that person is in violation of copyright ownership. I don't know. It sounds messy. It's your bestie, Miss Messy. Miss Westy. It's about to get messy. Messy. It sounds all sorts of mess. You are unhinged when speaking about Rachel. Okay. Christopher says they are her OnlyFans photos. Oh, she has an OnlyFans? What? But also, she also can't be distributing or sharing any of the OnlyFans photos, because then that would technically be copyright infringement, because she doesn't own the. Well, but then she says, I don't know. Like, are there OnlyFans photos that Britt posted like on Twitter of her sucking some D? I don't know. LA Kid says, you have been mean and hateful, but to your Bravo friends, all of you are just trying to make a buck, just like you. Okay. Pamela says, of course she does. Of course she has an OnlyFans. Boozy Bitch wants to know if Portia's coming back. Yep, Portia is back. Mary Ann says, no, Victoria said she wanted to get Billie on tape, but the camera was not recording. Correct. Right. She didn't have, yeah. The glove doesn't fit, OJ. Up and Adam doesn't like you, so stop being mean. So pathetic. Don't bring him up. Jeez, so thirsty for him. Baby, he should be thanking me for keeping his ass relevant, because his interviews don't go very far. Number one. And number two, I'm not thirsty for him, but I love when he makes a big mess that I get to talk about on my show, because it brings me joy, and I will own that. Okay, so we talked about Kenya, we talked about Teresa, we talked about Billie, we talked about Sandoval, we talked about Alex Baskin. We did it all. Okay, we covered everything. All right. Thank you guys. Like I said, don't forget to send in your stories to Disaster Daters, disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. Let's get it. Go and show some love to the Pop Report. We have episodes that drop every Friday and every Wednesday. So you'll get 2 new episodes this week. You'll get 2 new episodes this week. The first 8 episodes are already out. Andy and I have lots to cover. We'll have lots more tea to spill, so get ready. Be sure to tune into the Pop Report on all podcast platforms. You can check out Disaster Daters. I've started uploading each of the Disaster Daters episodes onto YouTube, so you can watch full episodes of Disaster Daters Season 1 right now on YouTube. Season 2 will be coming back very soon, much sooner than you think. Get ready. So be sure to send in your stories to disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. Leave me a nice review on Apple Podcasts if you're enjoying this podcast. I appreciate it. Hit the like button if you're watching this on the YouTube. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to drop a comment letting me know your thoughts, feelings feelings and vibes. Do you believe Teresa Giudice? Are you team Billie Lee or team Victoria? Do you think that Sheena was pressured into making up with Tom Sandoval, or do you think she misheard the producers? Let me know your thoughts. Drop it. And how are you feeling about Kenny Moore? Are you excited for her coming back? Let me know. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Let's get it. Tuesday. I'll see you. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Okay, bye.